30, 60, 90 days, whatever it is, and then you can make up those payments later.
Imagine a world where the United States reclaims its position as the undisputed financial leader, propelled by a revolutionary strategy, adopting Bitcoin as a strategic reserve. Under Trump's bold leadership, a groundbreaking proposal is gaining traction, acquiring 1 million Bitcoin over 5 years at an annual rate of 200,000 coins. This isn't just financial maneuvering, it's a visionary move that could redefine global monetary policy. With Bitcoin's supply permanently capped at 21 million, this plan would secure over 5% of all Bitcoin in existence, and an even larger share of the liquid supply, given the millions of coins lost forever. Financial expert James Lavish emphasizes the transformative implications of such a move. If the US government enters the Bitcoin market, it could trigger an unprecedented demand shock, creating a supply crunch that drives Bitcoin's value to stratospheric levels. Beyond market dynamics, this could fundamentally alter the way the world understands and values money in the digital age. Trump's strategy isn't just about keeping pace, it's about leading the charge into a new financial frontier. By embracing Bitcoin, the US would position itself as the global innovator in monetary policy, ensuring economic dominance and security in an increasingly digital world. This isn't just policy, it's a paradigm shift. A bold move that could reshape the global financial landscape and cement America's position at the pinnacle of economic innovation.
Benefits fund and the civil service retirement and disability fund that they just stopped making payments to, and they're just going to do this and play these games and pretend that it's not a problem until Congress can get its act together and raise the debt limit again, because there really is no other choice.
Yeah, like how long is this going to last here? I mean, James, you think about it, you're talking about that amount of debt, these new extraordinary measures, just grabbing things out of thin air. I mean, how long can this last before what you're talking about going back to Congress?
Yeah, it could last for months. I mean, Yellen said that they could do this, they could use these extraordinary measures all the way into the summer. So this could last for a long time. Now, just remember, these extraordinary measures, it's kind of like pausing your payments on things that you will have a grace period on. So just like it's as if you were pausing your payments on your health insurance and your car insurance and your home insurance, knowing that they'll give you 30, 60, 90 days, whatever it is, and then you can make up those payments later and by just opening another credit card. And that's literally what we're doing. We're just going to open up another credit card, pay those down later and not worry about it, just pile on more debt. That's literally what T-bills. And so the problem is that Bessent's going to have to figure out a way to move that out on the curve without blowing the bank at the Treasury and with blowing out the deficits, because if those long-term rates continue to rise up towards 5% or higher, then it's going to make his job very difficult to manage the duration of the curve. And that's really his big challenge that people aren't really talking about.
Yeah, I mean, it's far from the first time that this has obviously happened, by the way. But I mean, can you lay out what's possibly next for us? I mean, you just mentioned it. We're kind of going into the unknown here, but it seems as though they got to kind of clean up a mess.
Yeah, it's going to be a big mess. So they left Trump with this problem, which is he's already over the debt limit, and his Treasury is using the extraordinary measures to keep it all going. So, yeah, thanks very much. And so here's here's your pile of mess, and it's up to you to clean it up. And so, what's going to happen? Like, that is an issue. So that's another issue he's got to deal with.
Yeah, not to mention some of this upcoming economic data too. Okay, I want to switch over and talk about the Trump and Melania coins. I mean, obviously, it's been making a ton of headlines, and I liked what you recently posted on X. Quote, and we'll show the tweet here. I live in Las Vegas, but I never go to the casino. I also own Bitcoin and no other cryptocurrencies. There's a lesson in there, which is why I wanted to get your thoughts on Trump and Melania launching their own meme coins here, James. I mean, we were promised a new era of legitimacy for the crypto industry under the Trump administration. And before we get to that, what are your thoughts on this move?
It was kind of surprising to me, I'll be honest. I can't get into their heads. I know that Trump and his family are very focused on always being profitable personally and making money. And so I think they got into this world and they were advised and they realized that they could make a lot of money really quickly. And the reason they did it before it appears from the outside. And but here we are.
Quick trade. Okay, looking at the next 4 years under Trump, what are your core expectations, James, in terms of crypto and Bitcoin? I mean, let's start with the end of Choke Point 2.0 and the full repeal of SAB or SAB 121. I mean, talk to me about this a little bit.
Yeah, so back about a year and a half ago, we had, or a little over, about a year ago, it was repealed. So, but during Gensler's administration, the SEC, what they did was they kind of did an end zone run around Congress, and what they did is they had looked at the gap accounting, and they came up with they made a review of it and kind of a bulletin, right? So, and by doing that, they basically said they put all these risk parameters and warnings around holding crypto, holding Bitcoin on your balance sheet if you were a financial institution. And so they're not currently offered for their customers. So you could buy Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever right alongside your other holdings in your bank. You can hold it there, and they can soon start building and offering products around that, whether it's lending products, whether it's insurance products, or borrowing. There are going to be some things that they can do that they're currently not doing that'll be easy for everyday customers to use that they currently can't. And the banks they've just been too cautious to get into it because of that one kind of not ruling but bulletin.
Yeah, those regulations. And of course, I do want to point out to our audience quickly that Donald Trump's second day in office, a new Security and Exchange Commission cryptocurrency task force was announced, and the task force aims to, as James was just saying, to bring greater clarity to the rapidly growing digital asset industry. I mean, with this and what you were talking about, going and repealing that, what are the expectations for the next 4 years?
Administration in office, there's a likelihood now that this gets done in due time. How quickly it happens, it's hard to say. There are a number of things that Trump could do, and there are a number of things that Congress could do. But it would have to go through a legislative gauntlet, and if it's going to happen the way that Senator Lummis wants it to happen. And so that would mean it would have to go to committees, it would have to be revised, it would have to be approved, and so that it would take some time to do it that way. There's another way that Trump can do it, and he could use something called the Exchange Stabilization Act to just through executive order and add Bitcoin to the balance sheet that way. Now, that would be something that would happen pretty quickly, but it would be a smaller version of the Bitcoin reserve. Company, how you hold it on your balance sheet, in your treasury, and where you mark it at. Prior to this new gap accounting, you would have to hold this asset. If you bought Bitcoin and it went down, you had to hold it at the lower of your cost or the lowest price that it went to. So you could see is if you go back at MicroStrategy's balance sheet, you can see how Michael Saylor had to hold this Bitcoin on his balance sheet for years because it went down to under 17,000. He had to hold it there. Anything that he bought that was at the lowest cost of lowest price that it went, and it was called an impaired asset. Now this new accounting is you can buy Bitcoin and hold it on your balance sheet at fair market value, which is normal for an asset. So it's a really big deal. The only way you could get it off your balance sheet at an impaired value before was to sell it, and then you'd have to take just like any other stock and hold it with their prime broker custodian. They know what the leverage is on it. They know what the margin is on it. It's very straightforward. So that's opened it up. That's a big avenue for it.
Yeah, huge avenue. Okay, well, I know that we're talking about crypto here, but you're also a gold bug. You believe in the value of those hard assets. So, are we forgetting about gold here when we talk about the U.S. Strategic, Reserve? How should a balanced portfolio look like, even if it's just for us? Gold versus Bitcoin percentage-wise, in your opinion?
Well,
And I'm not Peter Schiff, but you know.
I do like gold, and I hold gold because I'm a hard money guy. You know, I want to have assets that will appreciate as the dollar is devalued, as it's debased. So I do own gold, but my focus is truly on Bitcoin, as you know, and that's why I opened the Bitcoin Opportunity Fund. And so all of my excess capital is kind of pointing towards that personally now. So that they have to borrow so much to keep up with all of this spending that they have to allow for inflation. So if we do have some sort of economic shock, geopolitical or just market shock, Jeremy, I believe that you'll see a V-shaped recovery just like you did back in March and April of 2020, because the governments can't let their economies collapse. It would send them into a rapid debt spiral that they would not be able to get out of. So they would rather allow for liquidity to expand, the money supply to expand, and for there to be debasement of those currencies in order to allow for the pay down of that debt through cheaper dollars or euros or whatever it may be.
Yeah, it's fascinating to watch all of this take place. And I wanted to give you a chance to talk about what you were speaking about before, this new company, the Bitcoin Opportunity Fund.
Really where we kind of set ourselves apart, coming from the traditional institutional world. We're doing the same exact things we used to do in our own public and private LPs and our hedge funds, and applying that to this space specifically in the Bitcoin universe.
Yeah, it's been pretty fascinating to watch. As you mentioned, family offices, private equity wanting to get involved in a bigger way in this space, institutions starting to embrace it. How do people get involved? Just the average of people like me and you.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So if you want to get information, just go to bitcoinopportunity.fund, www.bitcoinopportunity.fund, and just fill out the questionnaire there. Really simple, just attest that you're an accredited investor, and we can send you information.